Hi guys, it's me again. Today we'll discuss very interesting topic, which is modular monolith or microservices pattern. Let's dive in. What it is about? It is about a pattern where we can have multiple modules or multiple services depending on our needs. So it can be deployed either as one runtime with multiple modules, or as I said, as a few independent services using the same code but different configuration. And it is possible thanks to the convention that we follow. It's not necessary, but it makes easier many things. So it is basically a rule or constraint that where modules, while handling external requests, they cannot call another module as stated here. And in our example, we'll have user project module, and the project module, it needs to have some data from the user module, but it will be done all in the background. They will not communicate with each other directly while serving external requests. And we'll have different implementations of this communication, depending whether we have modular monolith or whether we have two services, user and project service. So going further, what we have here is, as I said, a few modules or services, depending how we deploy them, deploy and configure them. We'll have it's just a RESTful API with the database. We use Postgres 16. We need to have Java 21 and compatible Maven version. We have a few scripts to make operations easier, and we go through two cases. This is modular monolith, and we see how the modules synchronize data between each other. And the other case is microservices. We have two microservices based on user and project module. So we have user service and project service. So before starting, let's maybe go through some code. So for modules, we have in shared, we just have a few shared things between the modules or services. So most important, we have the outbox pattern, and it will help us with delivering events and messages reliably. So how it works is, instead of sending events directly by changing some data, we'll save them in the local database of the service or module and then publish them in the separate process. We'll see this in action in a while, and we also have in-memory events that will help us with doing this. And project and user modules or services, they're just Spring Boot applications. Each of them has a schema and a few Spring Beans, which is just classes, and controller for users with a few endpoints to basically manage users. And same is true for the project service or module. Service or module. So let's start, guys. We have scripts and instructions for everything in README, so we can just follow it. And to follow it, you just need to have Java 21, compatible Maven, as said here, and Docker. So first example would be the modular monolith. So we need to have a database. We run it in Docker. So all scripts are run from the ops directory. So we can just go there and start the first script. We have the database. It also doesn't have any volume. So if we recreate it, we lose all the data. But let's ignore it for now, and let's go and build the modular monolith. Wrong directory. So ops directory, build modular monolith. Can take longer for you because we do have some Maven dependencies. I have cached them already, so it can take a while for you. And we also use Postgres image in tests, integration tests. So it also needs to be downloaded from the internet. So it can take a while. And here we build basically shared user project modules, and at the end modular monolith module, because it depends on all of them and run them in the runtime. So let's wait. Right, code is built. We have built the image. Building of the image, it can also take a while for you if you don't have this image of Java 21 cached. I have, so again it's faster, but we basically have it. So let's run it. Let's run it. Something started. I think it works. So as here we can go to NC API. So as you can see, we have a few endpoints. I have tagged them, so these are the endpoints from the user module or service, and here from the project. And right now we have a modular monolith with those two modules, basically. So let's go further, and yeah, what we can see here is that we don't have any data, obviously. So if we get users, we don't have anything. Yeah, we got empty response, same as with project users. These are the users that project module is aware of, because remember, the modules or services, independent whether we deploy them as modules or services, they do have independent databases. So to see this, we can go to project config. So we have what you have here is application project YAM, and we can see that we have database configuration taken from those environment variables, and the user is taken from the other ones. Also, if we go to the terminal, do this, we have two Docker processes. We can do we can go to modular pattern database. It is exec team, and let's go to let's log in as a root, and let's connect to the user database, I believe. Yeah, so we have two tables of user, and we can also connect to the project database, and we have separate database. Yeah, let's exit for now, and let's return to the README. So we have modular monolith with both modules, and they would synchronize the data between each other while deploying like that with two modules. So, but let's simulate the scenario where we had user module before project module, and it will not be, the project module will not be basically aware of this data because it will not be with us deployed. So let's stop the modular monolith and let's build it again, but with this variable, which would mean that we will not have we'll have only user module, basically, no project module. So let's run it. All right, we have built the modular monolith, but only with user module. So let's run it as we did, but this time only with the user module. So if we go to the Swagger again, and actually we refresh it, you can see that we have only user module, so no project module. So right now, if we were to create users, only user module will be aware of it. So we can use this script, JavaScript that I have prepared to create some users. So let's do that. Okay, we have a few users and we can validate it by getting them. Okay. Yeah, so we have a few users. Swagger is saying that it can parse it because, as you might see, we have JSON starting from new line, so it's called new line limited JSON. It's a nice way to stream JSON, big JSON lists that can be really large. So each object is written to the new line basically. Yeah, but anyways, so what we will do right now is we will build and run the modular monolith again with both modules and see what problems it will cause. The fact that we have a few users, but only user module is aware of it, and that will be a problem. So let's stop modular monolith again. Let's say with user module false, and let's build it one more time. Right, we have it, guys. So let's run it with both modules again. Right, and let's see that it started with two modules. It has. So again, if I get users from the user module, I have 3 users, and if we get users from the project module, we don't have any. So that's a problem. And why? As to why, let's try to basically create a project. So let's run the script. If you are curious, the script, it is just doing HTTP requests to the, oh, that's not needed. Let's fix that. It's just doing HTTP requests to our API. So it creates users or projects, basically using standard Java HTTP clients, no dependencies, simple JavaScript, as strange it may sound. And for that particular case of create project, we'll just call this endpoint post project. Okay, so let's do this. And we got exception, as you can see, because we require users to exist if you want to use them, depend on them in the created project. So how we can fix that is basically we need to synchronize users. So we have a special endpoint for that, and before calling it, let's maybe go to its code, and it is in the project module. We have project users controller, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And what we do here is basically we call user client. We get all users from it, and we save it in the local database of the project module. And we have simple SQL project user repository. In all cases, in all of those modules, we use JDBC client from the Spring. It's really convenient to just write SQL statements like that and have them automatically mapped to Java records, basically. But anyways, calling that, as I said, we will use user client, and in this case, as we right now have a modular monolith, User client is basically defined in the shared module, and its implementation is in the, actually we have two, but for now we have in the modular monolith, the implementation is user service, and user service is defined in the user module, and it will just serve us users from its database. But in the code of the project module, we depend only on the shared module, not on the user one, which is really nice because we have loose coupling. So yes, so let's call the endpoint, guys, to synchronize all users. Okay, got 200, so it should work. And if we get users right now, we have users in the project users module. So if we run this command again, we get success. So we have created the project, and we can now basically get it. Let's try that out, copy paste the ID, and we have response. All right, so right now we would like to see that when you have two modules, the users, they synchronize automatically, meaning that if we change or create them in the user module, project module will be immediately or almost immediately aware of it. So let's right now, having two modules, let's create additional users basically. Right, so we have two more users. We had 3 users. Let's see how many we have right now. 5 as expected in the user, looking at the user module. And let's see whether it is also true for the project module. Yeah, so it is. And basically how it was possible, we have in the user module / service, whenever we create or update user, we also save outbox message with the user changed event, and we have a separate scheduled process that sends these events in memory in terms when it is deployed in the modular monolith, and in the separate services case, we'll send those events through HTTP. But we'll see this. We'll see this in a while. And basically, user changed event project service is subscribing to them, and on new event, if the user version from the event was newer one, or if user didn't exist, we basically save, which is create or update user in the project database. All right, so we can also see that we can create additional project with those new users. So let's do that. Okay, got successful response, and if we try to get it, let's do this. We have project with additional users. Yeah, so that's the functionality, guys, and that was Modular Monolith. So let's right now move to the microservices version, where we'll have the same functionality, but deployed as 2 separate services, which is user service and the project service. So let's stop the monolith before moving on. And we should also do the same for the database, because we want to have it clean without any data. So yes, we have the database, new one, and right now let's build the user service. And similarly to the modular monolith, we basically built a shared module and a user module, but in a different way with different profile, so that it is executable as the modular monolith was. All right, we have it. So let's run it, guys. Something has started, so we should have user API, and it is the same as we have here, user module service, but it was a part of modular monolith, and right now it is the same, but in the separate service. Data, obviously, because we didn't create anything. So right now, I think let's create users. I was about to say that we should start the project, but before that, let's create users using the same script, but right now we need to set user service URL because we are running the user service on a different port than the modular monolith. Let's create users. We have a few of them. We can recheck that we can get them. And we have similar situation as before. Previously we didn't have project module. Now we don't have project service, but we did create users. So it will create similar problems. But before showing that, we have outbox pattern, as I said. So actually, if we go to the logs of user service, you can see that it tries to send events. It tries to send events to the project service that will be here, but it is not yet. And how this is implemented is basically we also have outbox pattern in the running in the user service. It's here, so we have shared. We have schedule outbox processor, and every second it runs the outbox processor. It publishes also events in memory, but how we have it implemented in the user service mode, we have HTTP user change publisher, and basically it subscribes to the user change event, which is published in memory, but in response, it tries to publish it on to the project service using simple HTTP call. And in the project service, we have events controller, and basically we are listening to it and calling the same method as we did in the modular monolith, but right now a reaction to HTTP events, not in memory ones. That's basically why it is easy to have this setup of having either modular monolith or separate service. Yeah, but let's go back to the README right now. Let's build the project service actually. And actually first we'll show the scenario where this problem will be fixed automatically because we have outbox pattern. So if we go back to logs, we can see that it tries to resend those events all the time in the loop every second, every few seconds. Thanks to that, actually, if we run project service, it will be fixed, meaning that we will see in the logs that we receive some events. Wait a few seconds. Yeah, this next one, and the third one. So if you go here right now, have Swagger for the project module right now. If we get project users, we have users. So to recreate this problem, let's actually set here. Let's stop everything a little differently than here. Let's run the database again. Let's actually also run user service again. Here we'll have a project service. So let's create users again. Not that. Yeah, so ops directory. Let's create users again because we have a fresh database. So yeah, it will not work. It should. Okay. If we get users, and if we go to logs, again we should try to recent events. We do. So right now, let's but before that, let's maybe just go to the database and spend a while there. Okay, user. Right, so what we have here, tables, and let's select from the outbox message. And as you can see, you have ID, created that, send that, type, and message. And the type is used to properly parse the message. The message is JSON, and as you can see, we have user changed event here. So we have 3 users with IDs, email, and name and the birth. So not to have the because Outbox pattern is based on that, on data that is in those tables. In this table, let's just truncate it basically. Okay, we don't have anything, and it will also stop to send events. So right now, if we run the project service again, it will not have users. So again, going back to the user module /service, if we get the users, we have users, but if we go to project service, we don't have users. So if we run the, what I was going to say is if we would try to create a project right now with different project service URL, because we're running it separately, let's try to create project. We get exception because users, they don't exist actually. So again, we can fix that in the same way as we did with Modular Monolith by calling this endpoint. But interestingly enough, in the first example of Modular Monolith, we had modules in memory, so they were able to communicate that way. Right now, because they are separated by the network, so we basically have two separate processes, user service and project service. They can't communicate in memory. So to mitigate that, in the project users controller, as you might remember, we were using user client, but previously we had in-memory implementation. And right now we have simple HTTP user client, so it calls user service using HTTP call, and the interface is the same. So we have programmed to the interface, and right now we just swap the implementation, and it will work the same basically. So if you call it, maybe before, let's revalidate that. We call get on project users from the project service. We don't have any users. And if we call this endpoint, we got 200. And if we get users, we have users. So that's nice, it works. And again, if we create a project, it will work. So right now we can get the project as previously, but in the separate service, which is nice. And we have project with users from the other service, not module. Remember that. Okay, so I think the last thing we can do is to create additional users. So let's do that. The copy pasted sometimes doesn't work. Right. So creating additional users. And yeah, because that's also actually other case, because as previously we have 5 users, and we will also have 5 users here in the project service. But remember that right now it is a project service, so it was synchronized over the network, and we didn't need to make any changes to the code, just to the configuration, which is amazing. Yeah. So as a last step, let's create the additional project. Previously, so not users. Write it down. Project. We have created a project, and let's get it basically. Auto ID, and we have it, guys. So yeah, as you can see, we had modular monolith with 2 modules, project and user. Then we split it into 2 independent services, user service and project service. And we had the same functionality, but by only changing the configuration. So I hope, as I do, you found it pretty amazing and flexible. So if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I see you in the next one. See ya.